one of the things I'd really like to ask you is that you have a lot of experience dealing and managing with lubricant breakdown and the effects of lubricant breakdown, not just from a theoretical chemical standpoint, but also real world in the field. And maybe, just to hit some low hanging fruit, what is maybe something that you would say most people don't appreciate about the breakdown of lubricants? Like, what's something that is kind of a blind spot in our industry?
Yeah, it's a great way to start. I always like to start with the low-hanging fruit. The impact of oil breakdown and lubricant chemistry on equipment reliability, that is something that is really well understood. It's out there everywhere you look. People talking about failures associated with oil breakdown. But despite, how important of a topic this is, obviously, with respect to its impacts on reliability, something that people don't understand is that oil breakdown is really an inevitability. It's something that can be mitigated, and it's something you can be proactive about. It's something you can take steps to manage. But it is an inevitability. I mean, we're sitting here today, and regardless what side of the world you're tuning in from, it's 21% oxygen thereabouts around you right now. And since oxidation is the primary breakdown pathway for lubricants, I mean, this is, like I said, an inevitability. Now, another thing that, many people are kind of unaware of is, despite the fact that oil breakdown and oxidation specifically are going to be inevitable processes that we're going to have to face, unfortunately, most equipment maintenance programs and oil maintenance programs really don't do very much to address this oil breakdown. We tend to focus a lot of our maintenance efforts on removing particles, removing dirt, keeping oils clean and dry, but we don't focus a lot of effort in terms of managing their chemistry and making sure that we can do things to prevent or mitigate the risk associated with oil breakdown. And like we mentioned off the top there, the low-hanging fruit, oil breakdown is one of the leading causes of equipment downtime and failure. So it is a very significant topic.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and sort of speaks maybe to one of the wider trends that I've noticed, at least in the industry, having come into it relatively late, is the idea that most of the people that are managing, rotating equipment assets tend to come from a mechanical background. So myself, I was an aerospace engineer, which is, I call it a glorified form of mechanical engineering. Um, you know, but everyone else comes from a sort of mechanical engineering background. Maybe they're a mechanic, fitter, turner. Even people with reliability engineering roles tend to come from that sort of background. But so much of managing lubricants is about understanding chemistry. And there's very little knowledge, or at least domain knowledge out there. I guess the overlap between mechanical engineering and chemistry is reasonably small. And most of us, might have taken a single chemistry class during university. And realistically, our chemical knowledge is stunted at high school. So bridging that gap is something which is quite difficult to do. And actually one of the reasons I wanted to have you here. But beyond just educating people, is there anything else that we can do to help people understand that importance?
Education is definitely the key first step. And I think one of the tricks is to try and overcome this perception of chemistry as this scary beast that, I didn't like that course in freshman year and sophomore year or whatever it was. I got that done at least. It really doesn't have to be this thing that people build it up to be in their minds. It's just the science of understanding, what's going on and why it's going on a microscopic level. So, the engineering mindset that you talked about, that, so many people that are managing rotating equipment, et cetera, these are engineers. So they're used to looking at things through the lens of this macroscopic level, and just not being afraid to look at it through the lens of the microscopic level as well. 'Cause same sort of cause and effect relationships, that dictate what an engineer looks at in terms of, what he expects to happen. it applies on a chemical level as well. So once you've got that base education there, um, in terms of the chemistry, then it shouldn't be something that's so daunting. And then part of that falls to, to chemists like myself too, to try and communicate things a little bit better, be a little less intimidating in terms of the chemistry and the jargon that we use, to try to break this down into better everyday terms so that people can really understand the importance of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fascinating. And even it's funny that you say like at the macro and the micro level, because I think people even do have some level of understanding at the microscopic level, but even then it has a, let's say, mechanical bias. Like if you think about filtration,
Mhm.
everyone, well, pretty much everyone is well aware in the turbo machinery world of the importance of filtration, something that's happening on the micron level. But because filtration of physical particles is kind of a mechanical phenomenon, I think everyone can get their heads around that much easier than they can get around, targeting specific molecules that are being produced by the process of oxidation. So, yeah, you make a really great point. Maybe that lends itself then to the obvious question, which is, how do mineral oils oxidize? So, what's the basic outline of the process